Hello everybody, my name is Colton Johnson with Colton's E-Ticket Adventures, and for my top 10 video today for my top 10 favorite rides, the park will be Disney's California Adventure. Disney California Adventure opened up in 2001. I was merely the age of 1 when the park opened, and I have fond memories of this park from experiencing the great adventure that California Adventure is. This park is dedicated to the ideas of California. With lands such as Hollywoodland, Buena Vista Street, there is also Pixar Pier, Cars Land, as well as Paradise Bay and Grizzly Peak, among a few other smaller areas, like Avengers Campus and San Francisco Square. This park has filled me with wonderful memories of times long gone. But one of the things about this park, I feel like I have a very love-hate relationship with this park. More so love than hate. I feel like this park is rather lackluster when it comes to attractions compared to its sister park right across the Esplanade. But that being said, let's dive right in to my top 10 rides of Disney California Adventure. My number 10 pick will be Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. This opened up back in 2022 after the COVID pandemic took over the Disney parks, and it is part of Avengers Campus. This ride is a fun interactive ride, similar in vein with Toy Story Mania, but instead of having a way to control the targets, you are able to do it on your own, freehand, quite literally. And you get to be Spider-Man on this adventure to stop the spider bots around Avengers Campus. I think the concept of this ride is rather fun, and some people were disappointed, but I thought it was a fun experience. I definitely had to catch my breath after the fact. It is quite a workout, but fun nonetheless. My next ride on my list is the Pixar Pal-Around, formerly known as Mickey Fun Wheel or the Sun Wheel. This ride is always a fun pick because you get good views, but also still a little bit of thrill if you choose the swinging gondola. This ride is one of those rides that some people might be a little afraid, but don't worry, there's barf bags. This opened originally with the park as the Sun Wheel back in 2001, and it is currently, like mentioned, the Pixar Pal-Around in Pixar Pier. The next ride on my list is a fun little musical ride, Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure. This one is such a fun little ride, and I think it's always great for parks to have dark rides. Especially for a park that only has like 2 or 3, it's good to have one, especially based on one of the beloved classics of the Disney Renaissance, which is The Little Mermaid. This one is more a book report style ride or Fantasyland style ride, if you know what I mean, but it's done in a way where it's an omni-mover, so the capacity is brilliant for those who worry about numbers and all that. But I think it's fun. It has fun moments. I do think they need to have some touch-ups in the next few years, but that's my own opinion, and I can probably talk about that in another future video. But this is found in the Paradise Garden Park area, formerly Paradise Pier. It was just kind of encompassed with that. But I think it is a fun ride, and definitely one of my favorites. The next on my list is Toy Story Mania. This one is super fun. I have always adored this ride since it opened, and I love having that interactive capability and shooting targets, and I feel like it's in the perfect setting where it's a midway and you're on a pier, and I just think it works perfect. And I think Toy Story is the best franchise that could pull this off. I think it'd be cool to have actual dark ride of Toy Story, but I think this is a good way we can have Toy Story in this park. The next on my list is Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue. This is my personal favorite dark ride in the park. I mean, I technically have Radiator Springs, but I think as a dark ride itself, this one's my favorite. I love Monsters, Inc. It is one of my favorite Pixar movies, and it's fun to see this story play out in the way that it is in the ride. Fun fact, this used to be the Superstar limo, which was only open for about 2 years of the park, and no one liked it, so they got rid of it. Another fun thing is I remember being about 5 or 6 when they were building the ride, and I actually saw them put some of the facade together. It's a fun facade and has a lot of colors. I do think it'd be cool if they added a door coaster, but maybe in the future, if it's coming to Hollywood Studios, maybe it'll come to California Adventure as well. The next on my list is Grizzly River Run. If you're not a fan of water, you probably won't like this one, because it's not one of those you might get wet or you will probably get wet. You're going to be soaked and soggy toes, and you might want to change of clothes. I remember being like 8 or 9 and I was drenched, and it was one of the first rides we rode. But luckily my cousins were staying close, and I was able to get a change of clothes pretty quick. Over the years, I think it's very stylized. I love it on a hot day. One of the things I feel like they could add is a bear animatronic, but that's just, I think it would add so much greatness to the ride. But other than that, I think this one's a fun ride. The next on my list, and I'm very, very specific on this one, is Soarin' Over California. Not saying that Soarin' Over the World is bad in any means. I just prefer the Disney California original Soarin' Over California better, because it captures the spirit of this park. And to those who say it's gone, it's not. It comes back every year for Season of the Wine. And I really hope I can go back and experience it, but we'll see. But this opened originally with the park back in 2001, and it is in the Grizzly Peak area. The next on my list is Incredicoaster. Though I love the roller coaster of this, and I think having the Incredibles be a theme is fun. I personally preferred California Screamin', but this will do. I felt like the last time I did ride it, it was a little underwhelming, but I felt like I chose the wrong seat. But other than that, it's still fun. It's fun to have a loop. And this is actually one of the longest coasters in the state of California. But I think it is fun. It's better at night. And this is in Pixar Pier. Next on my list is one of my favorites, and it would have been my favorite if it wasn't for my next one. But Radiator Springs Racer is so fun. And it's so thematic. I just love being sent to this area with the red rocks. It's almost like being home. I'm from St. George, Utah, and there's red rocks, and it kind of feels like that, even though it's interesting that this is in California. But I think this place is beautiful. I love the ability to race the vehicle next to you, and the indoor dark ride sections are beautiful and have amazing animatronics. I love this ride. This opened back when Cars Land opened in 2012. And it's definitely my must-do when I go to this park. So before I dive into my number one pick, here are some sad but very needed honorable mentions. It's more in memoriam to these rides. So first is Muppet Vision 3D. I want to get choked up a little bit, but this one was one of my favorites, and it is sadly gone. It is still holding strong, hopefully, in Hollywood Studios at Disney World, but I just loved going to this, especially on a hot day, and I love the Muppets. If you know me, I love those Muppets. One of my favorite Christmas movies is Muppet Christmas Carol, but I just love this show. And this is one of those ones where I was like, does it really count? I think it does. It's an experience. Next on my honorable mention, sad, but is Heimlich's Choo Choo Train. I miss him. He was my buddy. sometimes I look at him and think of me in a way. It's like a mirror. And I just like the smells of the animal crackers, of the watermelon squirting at you. It was just fun, and I very much miss it. I wish they could have incorporated it still in the park. And next is the saddest, but you might not like my opinion next, but the Tower of Terror. This was such a fun ride, and I remember when I was 7 years old, facing my fears, riding this ride with my cousins because they said I was a baby. And now, it became my favorite ride. It's definitely one of those rides that might be a little frightening to kids, even though my parents dragged me on it when I was like 4. But that's besides the point. I just love this ride, and I really want to go to Hollywood Studios so I can experience it there. Now, this might be a cool transition, but my number one pick for my favorite ride at Disney California Adventure is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. So I was skeptical. I very much was, because of my love of Tower of Terror. So I was a little hesitant. I rode this thing like 8 times when I went. And I personally think it's better. I thought it was such a party. Hearing all the songs, I don't remember if I got to hear all 5 of them with the amount of times I got to experience this ride in one day, but it's so thrilling, and I think it's honestly a lot more thrilling as the Guardians. It has one of the greatest animatronics, the rocket animatronic, and I love how they made it fit with the Guardians. I think the facade is beautiful, especially at night, and how it lights up, and there's all these trinkets. I've never experienced, they have a Halloween overlay during Oogie Boogie Bash, and it's like Monsters After Dark or something. I've only seen it through YouTube. Looks really cool, but I think this one's really fun. It has a very much of a rewritability to it. There's different songs, and I actually love the Guardians of the Galaxy, so this one is definitely one of those picks that I just absolutely love. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed me rambling on about Disney California Adventure. I hope to do a video in the future with my younger brother, who has a very strong passion for this park. And the hat that I was wearing in one of those pictures is actually his hat that he let me wear for the day. But thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe, and share. Also, go check out my main YouTube channel, Empty Popcorn Bucket Productions, where you will find my videos of movie reviews or retro reviews or animated reviews. Whatever you please, go check it out, go subscribe, and have a magical day. Bye.